Good evening, everybody. Matrix here, and here's my watch list for March 1st. Okay, so February was an interesting month. We had a lot of earnings. Earnings season is almost over. However, we still have a lot of plays. Since tomorrow being Friday, I think I'm going to take it slow a little bit and at the very least relax and try to end this week on a positive note going into the weekend. Taking a look at the SPY futures right now, after hours we had a nice little run up here, and then on the new day at midnight we opened gap down a little bit, and then it started grinding back up. So overall, the market looks like it's going to open pretty bullish from yesterday's close. It's going to be gapping up. However, because right now it topped out at this 2798 area, I think tomorrow we really have to see if it can break out the 280s tomorrow. The whole week it's been kind of just consolidating in a very tight range, and it's hasn't really made a big move yet, in my opinion. I mean, it broke out once over the 2800s, and then it just basically consolidated sideways, right? I mean, we had this day where actually, you know what? Let me draw this out real quick right here, horizontal line. I mean, we had a day where we snapped support and recovered real quick. We also had a day where we broke out of this 2800 area, right over here. We broke out this 2800 area, and we came right back down. But overall, 3 days that we are chopping sideways, if not, yeah. So ever since the breakout and the sell-off, we've been chopping sideways for 3 days now, and we're just trading within this range. Now tomorrow, what I want to see is watch this area and see if the overall market wants to break out and hold and then run back up, or fail from here and come back to the lows and trade within this range. With that said, key range right here is 2800 and 2782's area, or 20, we'll call it around here, 2781. So how does that correlate within the SPY? It's basically the 280 and the 278, right? 277.5. All right. Really small doji day. We had quite a bit of volume, but probably more due to I believe there were Fed news coming out this morning, and then we had the news with Trump and North Korea coming out as well, causing the influx of higher volume from the prior few days. But overall, the market is still in a very tight range, and it's still having trouble deciding where it wants to go from there. Okay, with that said, let's take a look at the watch list tonight. First up, we have NVDA. Now, NVDA, I mean, if I'm looking on the bigger picture for the prior 3 to 4 months, you can see a very defined range here from the 145 to 160. It made a move up, and now it topped out at around the 160 area, and it's now coming back down. NVDA overall is as Trick would say, it's a dog, right? It have trouble running up on a nice trend. Like, it had a nice run up here for like a month, and then it snapped. A run up here for a month, and then it snapped. So right now we just snapped this uptrend. Today it rejected the 156 area very cleanly. Also happens to be the 9 EMA as well. So I'll mark that off for you and show you that right here. Now, I do believe that or I like to think that NVDA has more downside to come, and in the next few weeks to test this bottom of the range here, with it being such a dog. Now, tomorrow I'll be watching for a pop and drop. We have very concise resistance, like a resistance zone right here from 155 to 155.15 area. Okay, so as long as the stock stays under this resistance zone, I do like it for the short bias first. Okay, I'm looking for a pop and drop. However, we have made a higher low for the past 2 days, right? It clearly showed that we bottomed out almost to the 153, and today we made a higher low right here at 153.30, call it 153.50, right? So as it cover pops tomorrow, and if it gets stuff here around the 200 SMA on the 5-minute chart, take that short, right, and write it down. It might or might not snap this 153.50s. Okay. If the range is shrinking really tightly, you can see there's a key range that it's bouncing off of. It's kind of like a bouncing ball effect right here, but the floor is a little slanted up. Then we might bounce off 154, but I definitely want to take the short here if it rejects. And if it reclaims the 155, then we should get a test of the 156, okay, which is key resistance area right here at the 9 EMA. Although today it didn't even reach 156, it only got as high as 155.90s, right? And it just sold off from there. So yeah, a pop and a drop, that would be my thesis. And if it can snap 153, that will make a big move down. 153 is very concise support area right here on the daily chart. As you can see, this is the closing price of February 6th, closing price of February 13th, opening price of Valentine's Day, yesterday's lows, okay? Right here, resistance January 17th, resistance January 15th. So a lot of prior resistance now becomes support at 153. Okay, so if 153 snap, I am anticipating an automatically magnet down to, well, 151 and then 150. Okay, so that's the play on NVDA. That's my plan there. Next up, we have SQ. SQ is, I kind of misread the news on SQ yesterday. I only read the headlines and I didn't go in depth about it. But after going through the news some more this morning, I noticed that this drop was caused from their Q1 guidance being weak. And I read their letter to their investors saying that, okay, the Q1 guidance is going to be weak, and this was basically an overreaction. It turns out to be an overreaction as the stock held a key support here at 74 and reclaimed 75. It turns out that their guidance for the whole year of 2019 was positive, and it basically ran from there, right? So today it didn't even make 74. Okay, pre-market it was already rounding up, and this here wasn't. This is the key inflection point for today, right? So now 75 is now key support. As you can see on the daily chart, it's also a psychological whole number as well, right? Let's mark that off right here. That's 75. Now, as this thing ran up and it cleared these opening highs here, it made 78 a very clear mark to mark off as another sign of support here. But it's a little too far off. So anywhere from 77, 75 to 78, this is a support zone. However, there are other support zones on the nearer term. Okay, so right here, in my notes, I marked off 79, 75. So let's place it down here, and the 80 area is the next support zone that we're looking at here. So as this thing ran today, it cleared a lot of resistance. I mean, taking a look at this now near-term support zone, it cleared the $80 level. So what I want to see is a dip out the gates, and if it still holds this support zone area, then my thesis is still going to be a long. Okay, I don't know if the stock can run any more further past 83. 83 is a daily chart resistance right here. I actually, as I was trading SQ today, I saw this and I marked it off at 83. Okay, you can see there is a prior resistance here, prior support, and also if I zoom in a little bit right here, prior support, right? And this kind of held it, prior support. So 83 is a very, very key resistance area that it needs to clear. Okay, today it didn't even reach, so tomorrow I think it might try again. As long as the 80 holds, once again, I'm expecting a dip out the gates for profit takers of today. As long as this area of support holds, I am going to be keeping a long bias on it and run it back up. Also, we have interim resistance though, so we got to watch the zone of 81.30 to 81.50. So let's take a look at that in my note. 81.30 to 81.50. Okay, so there's 81.30 to 81.50 right here in this area. Now let's take a look here. Well, let me get this line out of the way. Come on. There we go. Put some transparency here so you guys can see this zone marked off. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. This is what I'm watching. The stock is a little bit under this area right now, right? Okay, so with that said, I mean, it needs to clear immediately tomorrow. If the stock is going to gap up, I want to see it trade above here. And interim, if it drops and hold this area as well, there could be a long opportunity, but it's a little bit too close and it requires a gap up, right? If it opens flat and it rejects this out the gates, I mean, you can take that short, a scalp short, bring it down to the 80s area, and then from here, bring it back up. I think it's going to trade in some sort of a range tomorrow because of how strong it was today. I'm not really sure, but we'll just have to be very reactive on it. $80.50 is this level as well. So mark that off too. SQ obviously is going to be my main watch. I do like the long thesis first and then the short. I mean, we have seen these earnings winners run stupid. For example, I mean, let's take a look at EA here real quick. I mean, EA, it had a negative earnings reaction, and then it had a run-up day, and then another massive day, and then it gapped up, ran, and sold off. So we have this massive day today, or perhaps this massive day today. So it definitely can run some more for SQ. Next up, we have JD, another stock on my main watch. Now, JD is it's a little bit more trickier. Okay, first off, I want to mark off this uptrend line real quick. All right, so the stock came out with a positive earnings reaction and a catalyst, right? And I do expect this earnings reaction and catalyst gonna keep momentum on the stock. Now, the reason why it sold off, even though it had good guidance and revenues beat, was because it basically popped up a little bit too overextended. And also it popped up right into the key psychological whole number of 30, as well as key resistance area, right? 2079 and then 30, we have a print here, right? So taking a look at that, this is now heavy resistance. And then today at the open, we have it sold off immediately from 29 as a pre-market right here at the bell. I missed this entry because I had trouble with my platform. I had to reload. I was trying to get in literally first minute because I saw how great the pre-market action was. It was very defined. I mean, look at this. Pre-market, it was a steady sell-off and then a pop and a drop right here 3 minutes before the opening bell. And then right here out the gates, I had very defined risk. I can see there was key resistance here at 29, and I wanted to get in first minute, but I couldn't execute. So pretty unfortunate about that. But however, I mean, we are looking at a very concise interim day resistance area at 2850s. Okay, so I'm gonna mark that off. Also, we have resistance at 28 key psychological whole number, as well as 2815, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, 2815 is in my notes. So this is a very key resistance zone, in my opinion. So let's mark that off and show you real quick. Now, mind you, I do like this ticker for a little bit more run, but this here, this morning chop here, this is now a resistance zone, and the stock is trading a little bit under it. The stock is at 2762. So a pop and drop, or I think it's gonna be trading in a range tomorrow. Mark off some support for you. 27, obviously a very key psychological whole number. And then I also have a support zone from 2725 right here to 2735. So a 10-cent support zone. Okay. This here. Okay. So let's zoom back in a little bit. Basically what happened today was it sold off because it was overextended, and then eventually found a footing here at 2660s, which coincidentally is actually the closing price of this green candle right here. Let's mark that off. Okay, 2660 on the daily chart. Okay, so it bounced right off here at 2660s closing price, right? And it found support. On the intraday though, I mean on the 1 minute chart, you see a very clear double bottom. So right here, a very quick double bottom, and then it came back up and found support here at the 27, which is a nice key support area. So that's why I have it marked off right here. But we also have more of a support zone right here from the 25s to the 35s, where it broke out today late day. Okay, so all this testing here, eventually late day it broke, got scooped, right? So this breakout, it tested as well. Okay, all day it was trying. So a dip out the gates, if it holds this support area, then ride it for the long because of the positive catalyst, and ride it up to the 28, maybe 28.15. If it breaks out, test this 28.50s, right? From here, obviously I'll take all my profits off, if not a lot of it, and then look for the double top and then come down, right? If it pops up out the gates, if it gaps up, then I'll be looking for the rejection first, and then I'll be trading within this range here. Okay, very concise range. Another main watch here, JD. Finally, we have BBY. BBY is pretty simple, like another stock in range. The stock itself is very overextended. One of our moderators today ended up catching this short. Actually, let me go back to JD. I'm thinking, did I mention the uptrend? I did, eh? Yeah, I did mention this uptrend line. Let me see here. Yeah, okay, so mark this uptrend line as well. Uptrend line, yeah. Okay, so BBY. Okay, BBY is very interesting. The stock is very oversold. Overbought. Right, it's, very overextended. Today it kind of just ranged. Got to remember that this is on a positive earnings catalyst. This uprun, and today it basically kind of like a profit took and consolidated in a very tight range. Right, you have this downtrend line here that has yet to be broken. It needs to find a bottom first or consolidate a little bit more before it runs again. Let's see if it can hold support here at 68 to 68.10. So 68.10 is literally where it bounced off of today. So if I zoom back in real quick, okay, and 68. So this is today's bottom and support. So this here is a support zone in my opinion for now. And then we also have when the earnings came, it also popped out and over this 6750s area, right? So this is key support as well. I don't know if it's done consolidating yet. Maybe it's trading a little bit under after hours from its closing price, so maybe a little bit dip out the gates, and it could hold like a make a double bottom here and then start running, and then eventually break this uptrend line and rip again, right? We have a concise resistance at 70 as well, key psychological whole number, as well as just a little bit a tad above the 200. So I think it wants to hold this 200 and continue. If 68 snap, then watch for the 6750 right about here. If that doesn't hold, then we might lose it all. We might lose it back down to 65. Who knows, right? Let's see. Well, 6750, pretty key. 67 as well, right here. Okay, so it definitely has a lot of support holding it up for now. It's just a matter of when it wants to run again. Tomorrow being Friday, I mean, short sellers who are shorting this, they might want to cover late day and not hold shares over the weekend, not swing a short, because it is a positive earnings catalyst, right? So that's going to be on watch. One of my side watches, though, would be BBY and NVDA. So that's it for my watch list this evening. I hope you guys enjoy what you watch. Make sure you hit the thumbs up and like button. And I'll see you guys all bright and early tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Ciao.